my family kind of always had stray dogs, stray children. You know, my house was like a revolving door. So it's like, you know, when the kids need a place to hang out, like my parents' living room is where it happened. So it was just very natural for me to always just have other people that weren't biological in our family. So I'd always joke with my parents that I was going to adopt when I got older. And as I got like through college and stuff, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to have kids. I'm just going to adopt a 17-and-a-half-year-old. That way like 6 months and they're good. And but that joke kind of permeated my heart, and it was just like, it's not just a joke anymore. It's something that was really a part of who I was. And Kevin and I when we got married, adoption was always on the table. It wasn't ever like, oh, we're going to have biological children, that's the way we're going to do it. Adoption was always just kind of a part of the plan.
One night at home, I don't even know if we were like really talking about kids necessarily. You know, there was always a good piece about it, about, you know, relying on God and His timing and His plan. But then, you know, just had a light bulb, each of us one night, to maybe this is the plan. Maybe this is what God's got in store for us.
And I think because we were both so open and honest about it and felt like such unity about it, it was almost like then that light bulb went off like, wow, wait, maybe this really is God's plan for us. Because oftentimes when we've spoken to friends, it's our plan. Oftentimes when we've spoken to friends, it's one spouse that's really driving that adoption conversation. But both of us were totally for it, so it felt really natural.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we were first married, there was this missionary couple that we met who had visited the church that we were at the time.
Right.
And they were just like this precious family, and they had these 4 kids from South America. And I think we were just like drawn to, at that point, to like having a multicultural family. Because we loved it. We just thought it was so unique and beautiful. And I think it was like a little spark where God began to just give us a desire for a family that was like that.
And it's really been a process to take what God drew as a beautiful picture into a actual belief and a conviction, if I could say it that way, to draw out what is actually the Father's heart towards adoption and orphan care in general. So, but initially speaking, it goes back to before we were even married, wanting a multicultural family.
In 2010, I became a big sister through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program, and my little sister had been in and out of foster care, and I didn't really know much about it, and so she really prompted me to look into foster care, and I learned that there are thousands of kids just right here in the Tampa Bay area in foster care, and that there was an option to adopt one of these kids. And I decided in May 2011 that was going to be my path. I had just gotten out of a relationship and just said, you know what, God, I'm just going to give it all over to you, and I'm going to really fix myself, make sure I'm good, and I'm going to start down this path.
Right after the adoption was finalized, the very next night, she comes to us at the dinner table and says, how do I get saved? And that's not a question you often have someone just come to you unprovoked to ask. But it was just a very humbling experience to know that not only does she feel like this is her home, but she feels it's almost like she was kind of teaching us again the process of how Christ adopted us into His family. And I think she almost, I don't know if she fully understood that concept of it, but it was almost like we could see the full effect of the adoption process in a biblical perspective.
The blessings of adoption, as far as I can imagine, having not had a biological child, are just the same as having a biological child, and possibly then some. But just the opportunity to raise someone up and raise them in the Word, raise them to know and to love God and to just love on them and know that you are their parents forever. To have that great responsibility but also that great opportunity and that privilege. And, you know, the moment I walked into the delivery room and heard him crying, like, he's my son. You know, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not any different. This is my son.
There's something very humbling about watching somebody go through birth for 16 hours and graciously, you know, hand you their child and look at you and say, "Congratulations, Mom." That was definitely the most humbling moment of my life. I felt like I grew up in that moment for sure. But I think the relationship that I've had with his birth mom has been a huge blessing. Specifically because she just looks at us with such joy, and she made her phone background, and to some people this might sound weird, but she made her phone background the picture of her and Luke that they took, you know, together when she saw him when he was 2 months old. And she says, "I just look at this just because it makes me proud of the decision that I made, and I know it's the right one."
I don't know how many times I've been confused for like a babysitter or, and who are you to him? Is he your son? Or just in school, Malachi's friends, when I show up, they're like, "Is that your mom?" How could she be your mom? She's a different color than you are. And so, I don't know, I just love getting the questions like, "Is he yours?" Yes, they're all mine.
Brian Derek has, from the very beginning, just reminded me and taught me what God's grace means. He is a pure living example of God's grace because he doesn't have anger in his heart. You know, it's not just his bio family that he didn't stay with. It's 11 more families. And for this kiddo to wake up with a smile on his face every single day, it just blows me away. And there have been times where I've seen him be bullied. I've heard about it from school. And it's heartbreaking, but man, he just bounces right back. And so he makes me a better person every day.
And you know, I just go back to, you know, what God tells us to care for the orphans and the widows. You know, that's not just a suggestion. God wants us, he tells us we need to do that. If we love him, we'll love the people that he's created. And, you know, I know not everyone is called to physically adopt a child into their home, but there's other ways to care for children and widows.
It wasn't but maybe 2 or 3 months after we started going to Redeemer City that the idea of Luke was presented to us. And we were just so lucky. I mean, the church just reached out and loved on us in prayer, and were so genuinely excited for us and threw us a shower, and it's been a huge support system and just cool. Luke has known nothing other than Redeemer City. He was the first kid to, you know, be dedicated there, and so it's just all very exciting. And the church has been a huge support group, and just being able to talk to other parents who have adopted and how they handle different situations, even though they're all so different, our hearts are still all in the same place. So it's been neat.
Not only emotionally supportive, but talk about the mail ministry and Formula.
Yeah.
That's such a support.
The first thing that comes to mind is it's every adult's responsibility, period. And whether it is orphans or children, anywhere in the world, you know, it's just our responsibility, if we're bringing these children into the world, that we take care of them, that we show them the way, that we show them love.
I think I would just want our church to know that too, that like if anybody would make that decision to answer God's call for adoption, like this church, we will make it happen. Do never let the money stand in the way. It's just such like an earthly impediment, and this church will make it happen. I don't know what we'll do. We'll figure it out, you know, we'll do fundraisers, we'll do whatever we have to do, and like we will be the support network that a family would need to get there, and money need never stand in the way of that decision.